We don't cash checks for your kind. The white bank manager slams Devon's check onto the counter. Security guards materialize instantly. Devon freezes, college degree in his pocket, legitimate paycheck in plain sight. The manager snaps his fingers. Guards grab Devon's arms, twisting them behind his back. Customers gasp. Phones emerge, recording. The manager snatches Devon's check, tears it deliberately in half, then tosses the pieces at Devon's feet. He grinds the paper under his heel, smirking. Devon's eyes find the security camera, his expression unnervingly calm despite the orchestrated humiliation. Little does the manager know, someone important is about to walk through those doors. National Trust. Financial stands proud in downtown's business district, its marble columns and glass facade projecting wealth and exclusivity. Inside, security guards patrol near the entrance, watching customers with practiced vigilance. Bankers in tailored suits assist clients at polished mahogany desks, their voices hushed and professional. Devon Taylor enters the bank, shoulders squared despite his nerves. At 22, the recent finance graduate carries himself with purpose, dressed in pressed khakis and a crisp button-down shirt that he'd selected carefully for this milestone day. The security guard by the door tracks Devon's movement longer than he does other customers, his gaze lingering suspiciously. Devon approaches an available teller, offering a polite smile. "Good morning. I'd like to deposit my first paycheck from Horizon Innovations." He slides the check across the counter, unable to hide the pride in his voice. The teller examines the substantial amount $15,000 signing bonus, her eyebrows rising slightly as she studies it. "This is quite a large amount," she says, skepticism evident in her tone. "Is this your first time banking with us?" "Yes," Devon replies. "I'd like to open an account." "I've just started as an analyst at Horizon." From his glass-walled office, branch manager Gerald Hoffman observes the interaction. His eyes narrow at Devon's designer watch, categorizing it as suspicious rather than a graduation gift. Gerald rises from his leather chair, buttoning his jacket as he approaches. "I'll handle this," Gerald interrupts, placing a hand on the teller's shoulder. His voice shifts between forced cordiality and underlying suspicion. "Perhaps you'd step into my office to verify some details." Devon follows Gerald, aware of customers watching. Inside the office, Gerald gestures to a chair across from his desk. "That's quite a check for someone your age," Gerald begins, examining it under his desk lamp. "How exactly did you acquire this?" "I earned it," Devon replies evenly. "I graduated with honors in finance. This is my signing bonus and first month's salary at Horizon Innovations." Gerald's questions become increasingly intrusive. "And they just gave this job to you? Just like that? Interesting." Devon maintains his composure, producing his ID and employment letter. "My credentials are all here. You can verify everything." Gerald barely glances at the documents. "These could be fabricated. Let me call Horizon's HR department." He deliberately dials an incorrect number, then shrugs. No answer. How convenient. Devon notices the tactic but stays professional. "May I have my documents back, please?" "I can return another time." "I think we need to investigate further," Gerald insists, withholding Devon's papers. "Large transactions like this raise certain flags." Under the desk, Devon discreetly sends a text. "Mom, problem at National Trust downtown branch. Manager won't cash my check. Said it looks fraudulent." As Devon reaches for his documents, Gerald slams his hand down, trapping Devon's fingers beneath his palm. "Listen, son." Gerald's voice drips with condescension as he presses harder on Devon's trapped fingers. "Someone like you doesn't just walk in with a check this size without raising questions." He releases his grip, leaning back in his chair. "You don't look like the type who could legitimately earn this amount." Devon withdraws his hand slowly, maintaining eye contact. "That statement contains implicit bias, Mr. Hoffman. You're making assumptions based on appearances rather than facts. Gerald's face flushes. I've been in banking for 20 years. I know fraud when I see it. His voice rises defensively. This isn't about anything except protecting this institution. Through the glass walls, other employees watch the confrontation unfold. An assistant manager named Samantha takes a step toward Gerald's office, file in hand, but retreats when Gerald waves her away dismissively. Devin notices this silent complicity, cataloging it mentally. If you don't start being honest with me, Gerald threatens, I'll have no choice but to involve security. He taps his fingers on Devin's check. People don't just walk in off the street with legitimate checks like this. Where did you really get it? Devin breathes deeply. As I've explained, it's my signing bonus and first month's salary. My credentials are right in front of you. Gerald laughs without humor. What, did you steal someone's identity? Running errands for drug dealers? His eyes narrow. Be straight with me. It'll go easier for you. Devin's jaw tightens, but his voice remains steady. I'd like to speak with another manager, please. I am the manager, Gerald snaps. My decision is final. He picks up his phone, but instead of dialing the verification number on Devin's employment letter, he calls security. I need someone at my office. Potential fraud situation. Devin pulls out his phone. I'm going to record this interaction. Gerald snatches the phone from Devin's hand. No recording in the bank. He places it on his desk, out of reach. It's policy. Two security guards enter, positioning themselves behind Devin's chair. Gerald nods toward them. Keep an eye on this one while I investigate further. Devin remains seated, placing his hands visibly on the desk, acutely aware that any sudden movement could escalate the situation dangerously. Devin's phone buzzes with an incoming text. Gerald glances at the screen, reading, On my way. 5 minutes. Stay calm. Dash, dash, mom, dash, dash. Your accomplice, dash, dash, question mark. Gerald asks mockingly. This just gets more interesting. I think we should call the police, Gerald announces, picking up his desk phone while maintaining eye contact with Devin. Yes, I need police assistance at National Trust Financial Downtown Branch. Gerald speaks into the phone, eyes fixed on Devin. Potential fraud in progress. Yes, he's still here. No, not armed as far as I can tell, but he's being belligerent. Each lie flows effortlessly from his lips. Devin listens, disbelief giving way to understanding. This isn't about verification anymore. It's about power. The security guards inch closer, their presence a physical reminder of Gerald's control over the situation. While we wait, Gerald continues after hanging up, let's secure the potential evidence. He nods to the guards. His backpack, wallet, phone, everything. One guard steps forward, taking Devin's backpack. The other collects his wallet and phone from the desk. They place everything in front of Gerald like offerings. Let's see what we're dealing with, Gerald says, unzipping the backpack. He empties its contents onto his desk, methodically textbooks, a laptop, prescription medication. Each item becomes subject to his theatrical inspection. Advanced Financial Modeling. Gerald reads the textbook title aloud, voice laced with skepticism. Light reading? He opens Devin's laptop, feigning concern. Need to check for evidence of identity theft schemes. Those are my personal belongings, Devin says firmly. You have no right to search them without my consent. Gerald ignores him, picking up the medication bottle. What's this for? Stress from your high-powered finance job? His mockery carries throughout the office. Next comes Devin's wallet. Gerald removes each item individually, university ID, driver's license, credit cards, examining them under his desk lamp. He pulls out his own phone, photographing each piece of identification. Standard procedure for fraud cases, he explains, seeing Devin's expression. We'll need to verify all of this. With the investigation complete, Gerald stands. Now we wait for the police. But I don't want you slipping away. He gestures toward the lobby. You'll wait by the security desk where everyone can see you. The guards escort Devon to a high-visibility area near the entrance. Customers turn to stare, conversations faltering. Devon feels their eyes, some curious, some judgmental, some uncomfortable. The public spectacle intensifies the humiliation, exactly as Gerald intended. Devon stands straight, refusing to slouch or avoid eye contact. When customers look his way, he meets their gaze steadily, refusing the shame being thrust upon him. An elderly white woman approaches Gerald, who now stands nearby monitoring the situation. She whispers something in his ear, glancing at Devon. "Yes, we've got the situation under control," Gerald responds loudly. "Just making sure everyone's money stays safe." His emphasis on everyone's creates a clear division: Devon as outsider, threat, other. The security camera in the corner pivots slightly, its lens focusing directly on the scene. Devon notices this subtle movement, and the smallest smile appears at the corner of his mouth. A young bank employee named Alicia approaches Gerald tentatively, showing him something on her tablet. "Sir, I just found something about... "Not now, Alicia," Gerald cuts her off sharply. "Can't you see I'm handling a situation?" Through the glass doors, a sleek black town car pulls up to the curb outside, and a driver hurries to open the rear passenger door. Devon watches the town car through the glass doors, his heartbeat steady despite the public humiliation. His mother's childhood advice echoes in his mind. When they go low, we document everything. With methodical precision, he mentally records every detail of Gerald's actions, the deliberate mispronunciation of his name, the theatrical inspection of his belongings, the carefully orchestrated public spectacle. His eyes trace the bank's security cameras, noting their positions. 4 in the lobby, 1 above Gerald's office, another covering the entrance. All recording. All preserving evidence of what's unfolding. While Gerald speaks with another employee, Devon subtly adjusts his sleeve, revealing a sleek smartwatch. With a practiced movement, he activates its voice recording function. The finance courses that earned him his position at Horizon Innovations emphasized one principle above all others: documentation wins disputes. Outside in the approaching town car, Olivia Taylor speaks rapidly into her phone, her voice commanding immediate respect. "I need the security footage preserved immediately," she instructs, her tone leaving no room for negotiation. "Every second, every angle." On the conference call, the bank's regional director and Horizon's legal counsel listen attentively. "Thomas, as a board member of National Financial Group, I'm formally requesting access to all communications regarding this incident," she continues. "And Lisa, prepare for potential legal action against the branch manager personally." The car glides to a stop in front of the bank. Olivia straightens her impeccable suit jacket, gathering her composure before the confrontation ahead. Inside, Gerald continues his performance for the growing audience of bank customers. "These scams are getting more sophisticated every day," he announces to no one in particular, but loud enough for everyone to hear. "We're experiencing delays due to a security situation. We appreciate your patience." Devon feels the weight of whispered comments and sidelong glances. Some customers openly stare, while others pretend not to notice their averted eyes, somehow more damning than direct judgment. Still, he stands tall, shoulders back, face composed. A young bank teller named Lisa approaches him hesitantly, offering a paper cup of water. "I thought you might..." she begins quietly. "Lisa!" Gerald's sharp voice cuts across the lobby. "We don't serve refreshments to potential criminals." His emphasis on the last word hangs in the air. The teller retreats, apologizing to Gerald but giving Devon a quick, sympathetic glance. In this small act of humanity, Devon finds an opening. He touches his watch, activating its emergency contact feature. His exact location and a 10-second audio clip of Gerald's voice discussing the police transmit instantly, to his mother's phone. Gerald returns to Devon, satisfaction evident in his stance. "The police are 3 minutes away," he informs him, voice low but threatening. "Last chance to come clean before this gets much worse for you." Devon meets his gaze directly. "I have nothing to hide," he responds calmly. "But you might want to reconsider your actions in the next 3 minutes." Something in Devon's tone gives Gerald pause, but he recovers quickly, forcing a dismissive laugh. His phone rings and he answers impatiently. Hoffman speaking. "Sir," comes the urgent voice of the bank's security team, "someone important has just arrived at the main entrance." "Handle it," Gerald interrupts. "I'm dealing with something more pressing." "Sir, I really think you should know who just—" Gerald hangs up, irritated by the interruption. He turns back to Devon, unaware of how dramatically the power dynamic is about to shift. The bank's automatic doors slide open, and conversations throughout the lobby suddenly cease. 2 police officers enter the bank, their uniforms creating an immediate ripple of tension through the lobby. The taller officer, Rodriguez, scans the room with practiced efficiency, while his partner, Chen, speaks briefly with the security guard at the entrance. Gerald's face lights up with vindication as he strides toward them. "Officers, thank you for your prompt response to our situation." His voice carries a performative authority meant to impress the watching customers. The officers approach Devon, who remains standing calmly by the security desk. Officer Rodriguez assesses him with a neutral gaze, noting his professional attire and composed demeanor, not matching the belligerent fraud suspect description from the call. "This is the individual I reported," Gerald announces, producing Devon's ID and employment letter. "He attempted to deposit what we believe is a fraudulent check for $15,000. Gerald points to various parts of the documents. There are several inconsistencies here that raised red flags. Officer Rodriguez examines the documents, then turns to Devon. "Sir, could you explain the situation from your perspective?" Devon begins to speak, but Gerald immediately interrupts. "He claims it's a signing bonus from Horizon Innovations, but I'd like to hear from him directly," Officer Rodriguez states firmly, turning back to Devon. "The check is legitimate," Devon explains. "It's my signing bonus and first month's salary from Horizon Innovations, where I've just started as a financial analyst after graduating from—" "Anyone could make up a story like that," Gerald interjects again. "We deal with sophisticated fraud attempts regularly." Officer Chen notices this pattern of interruption, making quiet notes in his pad. His eyes move between Gerald's aggressive stance and Devon's controlled responses. "Have you contacted the issuing company to verify?" Officer Rodriguez asks Gerald. "I attempted to," Gerald claims, his confidence unwavering despite the lie. "But there was no answer." That's another suspicious element. "So you're asking us to take him to the station?" Officer Rodriguez clarifies. "On what specific charge?" Gerald's eyes narrow. "So you're just going to let him walk out of here?" What if he's part of a larger fraud ring? What if he targets other banks? Devon addresses the officers directly. "I understand you're doing your job. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I've provided all the verification a bank should reasonably need. This appears to be profiling, not legitimate security concerns." Gerald's face flushes dark red. "That's absurd! This has nothing to do with—" He stops abruptly, realizing the implication of his unfinished sentence. "This is about protecting our customers from sophisticated fraud schemes, nothing more." Officer Chen steps forward. "Has anyone actually tried calling the company's main line listed on the employment letter to verify the check?" Gerald stammers, "As I said, I tried but couldn't get through." "The company's main line is staffed 24/7, Devon points out calmly. "And my direct supervisor's contact information is on my employment letter, which Mr. Hoffman has been holding for the past hour." The tension in the bank lobby thickens as customers witness the confrontation. Several begin recording discreetly on their phones, sensing that something significant is unfolding. A security guard approaches Gerald, whispering urgently in his ear. Gerald waves him off irritably. "Not now. Can't you see I'm handling a situation with the police?" Officer Rodriguez's radio crackles with a message. "Be advised, dispatch just received a call from the Horizon Innovations legal department regarding your current location." Gerald's eyes widen at the radio message. He quickly pulls Officer Rodriguez aside, lowering his voice to an urgent whisper. "Listen, this is exactly how these scams work. They have accomplices call in, pretending to be company representatives." Officer Rodriguez maintains a neutral expression. "We need to verify all information before proceeding." "Look, I've been doing this for decades," Gerald insists, his voice rising slightly. "These scams are getting sophisticated. Trust my expertise on this. Would I risk calling the police if I wasn't certain?" Officer Chen steps closer, notebook in hand. "Mr. Hoffman, can you walk me through your verification process? What specific steps did you take before escalating to police involvement?" Gerald's confidence falters momentarily. "We have protocols for large transactions, security measures." His explanations grow increasingly vague. Visual inspection, system flags, behavioral indicators, all standard banking procedures. Devin stands nearby, listening carefully as Gerald fabricates banking protocols that don't exist. Each lie builds the case against him, and Devin remains silent, allowing Gerald to entangle himself further. Samantha, the assistant manager, approaches tentatively with a tablet in hand. "Mr. Hoffman, I found something you should—" "Not now!" Gerald snaps, causing her to retreat with a troubled expression. She catches Devin's eye briefly, her look communicating silent apology. Officer Rodriguez turns to Devin. "You said you just started at Horizon Innovations. What department?" "I'm an analyst in their finance division," Devin explains calmly. "I'm working on their market expansion projections and acquisition analysis. I started Monday after graduating with honors in financial economics." Gerald scoffs audibly. He's clearly rehearsed a good story. These scammers do their homework. Gerald thrusts the check printout toward the officers, circling the amount with his finger. "Does this look like a starting salary to you? For someone his age? Clearly fraudulent." "It includes my signing bonus," Devin explains. "It's standard practice for finance graduates from top universities. Horizon recruited heavily from my program." Officer Chen nods slightly, making notes. His demeanor suggests he finds Devin's explanation reasonable, which only increases Gerald's frustration. "Are you seriously buying this?" Gerald demands, desperation creeping into his voice. He gestures emphatically toward Devin. "Look at him! Does he look like someone who could legitimately earn this kind of money?" The statement hangs in the air, its implication unmistakable. Officer Rodriguez's expression hardens perceptibly. Even customers who had been watching neutrally now shift uncomfortably, the naked prejudice impossible to ignore. The bank's security director approaches Gerald with increasing urgency, leaning in to whisper, "Sir, Olivia Taylor is—" Gerald explodes, not bothering to lower his voice. "I don't care who's waiting!" "This takes priority." A commanding female voice cuts through the lobby. "Actually, Mr. Hoffman, I believe this does take priority." The lobby falls silent as all eyes turn toward the entrance. A black woman in her late 40s stands just inside the doorway, her presence commanding immediate attention. Her tailored charcoal suit speaks of executive power, her posture of absolute certainty. Gerald doesn't recognize her, but he can't miss how everyone else reacts. Bank employees straighten instinctively. Security guards step back, their demeanor shifting from authoritative to deferential. Even the officer's body language changes subtly. Gerald attempts to reassert control, stepping forward with manufactured confidence. "Ma'am, we're handling a security situation here. Please wait with the other customers." He gestures dismissively toward the waiting area. She ignores his instruction completely, walking directly toward the group with measured steps that echo against the marble floor. Her eyes briefly meet Devon's, then fix on Gerald with laser focus. Officer Rodriguez recognizes her immediately. "Ms. Taylor," he says, surprise evident in his voice. "I didn't realize you were involved in this situation." Gerald glances between them, confusion momentarily replacing his arrogance. "You know this woman?" he asks the officer, the question revealing his growing uncertainty. Before Rodriguez can answer, she reaches their small circle, stopping precisely at its edge. The scent of her expensive perfume mingles with the tension in the air. "Olivia Taylor, CEO of Horizon Innovations," she states, not offering her hand to Gerald. Her voice carries the quiet authority of someone who never needs to raise it to be heard. And yes, this check is legitimate. It's the signing bonus for our newest financial analyst." She nods toward Devon without revealing their relationship. Gerald struggles to adjust to this new reality. "I'm just following protocol for unusual transactions," he insists, his voice higher than before. Olivia raises a single perfectly shaped eyebrow. "Is it protocol to call the police before contacting the issuing company? Is it protocol to physically detain a customer? Is it protocol to make biased assumptions based on appearance?" Each question lands like a precise incision. The officers watch carefully, witnessing the power dynamic transform before their eyes. Gerald attempts damage control, straightening his tie nervously. "There were legitimate security concerns, which you could have verified with one phone call to the number printed on his employment letter," Olivia interrupts, her calm voice making the rebuke even more damning. "A call you claimed to make but never did." Samantha approaches again, confidence bolstering her steps now that the tide has turned. "Mr. Hoffman, I've been trying to tell you the name on the check matches our system. Devon Taylor is listed as an authorized signatory on the Horizon Innovations corporate accounts." Gerald's face drains of color as he processes this information. His mouth opens and closes without producing sound. The performance that seemed so effective minutes ago now appears transparently prejudiced. Customers watch the drama unfold, some recording discreetly on their phones. The court of public opinion has already rendered its verdict. Olivia steps closer to Devon, placing a protective hand on his shoulder. There's an unmistakable family resemblance in their eyes, their cheekbones, their bearing, a connection Gerald is just now recognizing with dawning horror. "Perhaps," Olivia suggests, her voice silky but edged with steel, "we should continue this conversation with your regional director, who I just got off the phone with." "Regional director?" Gerald repeats weakly, as the front doors open again to admit a grim-faced man in an expensive suit. "Olivia," the newcomer acknowledges with a respectful nod before turning cold eyes toward Gerald. "Thomas Bennett, Regional Director for National Trust Financial." He doesn't offer his hand. "I understand there's been an incident with one of our customers." The weight of the word "our" hangs heavily in the air. Gerald's complexion transitions from pale to ashen as he recognizes the severity of his situation. Olivia Taylor steps forward, her presence filling the space between them. "Perhaps I should introduce myself properly," she says, her voice carrying throughout the now silent lobby. "Olivia Taylor, CEO of Horizon Innovations and board member of National Financial Group." She pauses, allowing the information to register with everyone listening. "And Devon's mother." Gerald sways slightly on his feet as the full implications crash over him. The bank lobby remains absolutely still, customers and employees alike frozen in this moment of revelation. "But more relevant to this situation," Olivia continues, her voice measured but authoritative, "I chair the ethics committee that oversees customer treatment policies for all National Trust branches." The officers exchange glances, recognizing they've stumbled into a corporate earthquake. Officer Rodriguez steps forward. "Ms. Taylor, thank you for clarifying the situation. We'll need statements for our report, but this appears to be a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" Olivia repeats, the word precise and cutting. "Is that what we're calling racial profiling now?" Officer Rodriguez nods respectfully. We'll document everything accurately in our report. Both officers step back, remaining present but giving space for the corporate drama to unfold. Gerald attempts to salvage what he can from the wreckage of his career. Mrs. Taylor, I assure you I was simply following security protocols for large transactions. His voice wavers despite his effort to sound professional. This was never about... It's Ms. Taylor, Olivia corrects him immediately. And I reviewed those protocols personally last quarter as part of my board duties. They involve verification calls and reasonable due diligence, not police involvement before basic verification steps are taken. Each word lands with surgical precision. Devon speaks for the first time since his mother's arrival, his voice steady. The check is for my signing bonus and first month's salary. All completely documented in my employment package, which Mr. Hoffman has been holding for the past 45 minutes while suggesting I stole someone's identity or worked for drug dealers. Olivia's expression doesn't change, but something dangerous flashes in her eyes at this new information. She addresses the growing crowd of bank employees. I'd like immediate access to all security footage and a private room for a conversation with your regional director. The bank's security director steps forward immediately. Ms. Taylor, we've secured all footage as requested by your legal team. The conference room is prepared for your meeting. Gerald makes one final, desperate attempt to defend himself. This is highly irregular. I was protecting the bank's interests. Is that what you call publicly humiliating a qualified customer without proper verification? Olivia interrupts. Interesting interpretation of your fiduciary responsibility. Her tone makes it clear exactly how interesting she finds it. She turns to Devon, her professional mask softening slightly. Are you all right? The question contains both maternal concern and CEO assessment. Devon nods, maintaining his composure even now. I'm fine. The simple response carries the weight of everything left unsaid. My son's belongings, Olivia says, turning back to Gerald. Return them. Now. Gerald fumbles to gather Devon's possessions from his desk, nearly dropping the backpack in his haste. His hands shake as he returns each item, avoiding eye contact with both Taylors. Thomas Bennett addresses Olivia with professional concern. Ms. Taylor, I came as soon as I received your call. I assure you this incident doesn't reflect our values or training. Then it shouldn't reflect your practices either, Olivia responds firmly. Yet here we are. She gestures toward Devon. This is my son, Devon Taylor, recent finance graduate and new analyst at Horizon. He came to open an account and deposit his first check, and instead was treated like a criminal based entirely on assumptions about his appearance. Bennett turns to Gerald, his expression severe. Mr. Hoffman, my office will be reviewing this incident thoroughly. Please prepare all documentation related to this interaction. The instruction carries clear subtext. Start packing your personal items. Gerald nods mutely, the color entirely gone from his face now. Behind him, employees whisper amongst themselves, already distancing from their soon-to-be former manager. Olivia delivers her final statement to both men, her voice carrying throughout the lobby. This isn't just about my son. It's about every customer who doesn't have a mother on your board to intervene. How many others has Mr. Hoffman protected the bank from? How many accounts have you lost? How much talent has walked out that door because of treatment like this? The questions hang in the air, unanswerable and damning. I'll be calling an emergency meeting of the Ethics Committee tomorrow morning, Olivia announces. I expect full transparency about similar incidents at all branches over the past year. The emergency meeting convenes in National Trust's downtown headquarters less than 24 hours after the incident. Executive team members file into the sleek conference room, faces grim with the knowledge that they're facing both a PR crisis and potential legal nightmare. Olivia Taylor sits at the table not just as an aggrieved mother, but as a board member with oversight authority. Devon sits beside her, his presence unusual for such a meeting, but insisted upon by Olivia. My son experienced this firsthand, she had told the CEO when he questioned Devon's inclusion. His perspective is essential to understanding the full impact of what occurred. National Trust's legal counsel delivers the preliminary assessment after reviewing the security footage overnight. The senior attorney's voice remains professional, but her expression betrays her concern. The footage is problematic, to put it mildly, she explains, clicking through time-stamped screenshots. Mr. Hoffman's behavior appears even worse on video than in written reports. His body language, tone, and actions clearly demonstrate bias at multiple decision points. She pauses on a still image of Gerald looming over Devon. This is textbook discrimination with potential legal exposure in the millions. The language captured on audio, particularly phrases like "someone like you" and "look at him," creates significant liability. The CEO winces visibly. What's our exposure here? What kind of settlement should we offer? Olivia interjects firmly. This isn't about money. It's about systemic change. She slides tablets across the table to each executive. These are the national statistics on banking discrimination. This wasn't an isolated incident or one bad employee. This was the predictable outcome of inadequate training, monitoring, and accountability. Devon speaks up, his analyst training evident as he walks them through financial data he compiled overnight. These figures show the economic impact of banking discrimination on communities of color. Denied loans, excessive verification requirements, and higher fees create barriers to wealth building that perpetuate inequality. His presentation is professional and damning. What happened to me yesterday has happened to thousands of others without cameras recording or CEO mothers intervening. While the meeting continues, video clips from customer recordings hit social media. # banking. While Black trends nationally within hours, news outlets pick up the story. Bank manager calls police on CEO's son. By midday, National Trust's stock price drops 3% as investors recognize the potential for reputation damage and lawsuits. The bank's crisis management team presents their initial response plan. Gerald's immediate suspension, a public apology acknowledging the incident but not admitting systemic issues, and mandatory sensitivity training for all customer-facing staff. Olivia and Devon exchange a knowing glance across the table. These are token gestures, not real change. Every day, people who look like me face this treatment without cameras or connections. Devon addresses the executives directly. What happens to them? Who advocates for the student trying to deposit scholarship funds? Or the entrepreneur seeking capital to grow their business? Your sensitivity training won't help them if your systems remain unchanged. His words land in uncomfortable silence. These executives recognize the truth, but fear the cost of addressing it. Olivia leverages her board position strategically. As a board member with fiduciary responsibility to shareholders, I cannot support half measures that leave us vulnerable to future incidents and litigation. She slides a document forward. This is my proposal for comprehensive reform. The list is extensive. A complete audit of customer treatment across all branches. Revised verification protocols that remove subjective judgment. An independent review of all customer complaints over the past 5 years with attention to potential discrimination patterns, and a new executive-level position of Chief Equality Officer reporting directly to the board. The CEO balks at the scope. This is extensive. Perhaps we should take a more measured approach. More measured than having police called on a legitimate customer? Olivia counters. More measured than the class action lawsuit that will follow when others come forward? More measured than the regulatory investigation that will certainly ensue once this story breaks nationally? She leans forward. This isn't charity. It's risk management. Her argument resonates with the executive's primary concern, protecting the institution. One by one, they recognize the inevitability of significant change. While this high-level meeting unfolds, Gerald Hoffman sits in a smaller, starker conference room 3 floors below. Human resources and legal representatives face him across the table, their expressions professionally neutral, but their questions increasingly pointed. I was following standard security measures. Gerald insists, maintaining his position despite the evidence mounting against him. The transaction was unusual. Anyone would have flagged it. The HR director slides security footage stills across the table. The camera captures you saying, and I quote, "Look at him." Does he look like someone who could legitimately earn this kind of money? Can you explain what you meant by that statement? Gerald's defense crumbles further with each piece of evidence. "I've given 20 years to this bank," he finally explodes. 20 years of protecting our interests, following procedures, and potentially exposing us to $20 million in liability, the legal counsel interjects calmly. The employment letter contained a direct phone number for verification. You chose not to call it. That's not following procedure, Mr. Hoffman. In another meeting room, Samantha provides her statement to internal investigators. This wasn't the first incident, she admits, her voice quiet but determined. Mr. Hoffman regularly subjected certain customers to extra scrutiny based on appearance. African-American customers with large deposits, Hispanic business owners making withdrawals, Middle Eastern clients opening new accounts. She describes specific instances, dates, customer names, a pattern unmistakable in its consistency. I knew it was wrong, she acknowledges, but I was afraid for my job. He's terminated employees who challenged him before. Her testimony corroborates complaints that had been previously dismissed as isolated incidents. Combined with Devon's recordings from his smartwatch capturing Gerald's statements away from security cameras, the evidence becomes overwhelming. By evening, National Trust issues its first public statement, carefully crafted by crisis management experts. National Trust Financial acknowledges an incident at our downtown branch involving a customer who was subjected to inappropriate treatment. We sincerely apologize to Devon Taylor for his experience, which does not reflect our values or standard practices. We have placed the branch manager on administrative leave pending a thorough investigation and are reviewing all related policies and procedures to ensure this situation is not repeated. The statement walks the delicate line of acknowledging the specific incident without admitting systemic issues, while promising unspecified changes. It's a standard corporate response designed to minimize liability while appearing responsive. That evening, Olivia and Devon discuss the statement in the quiet of their home. Devon scrolls through social media reactions on his tablet, seeing the story spread. It's a start, Devon acknowledges, setting down the tablet. But without structural change, it's just words. Olivia nods, removing her professional jacket and transforming from board member back to mother. That's why we're just getting started. The statement buys them time, but the real work happens in the coming weeks. She sits beside him on the sofa. The board meeting next week will be interesting. Devon's phone chimes with an email notification. He opens it, scanning the contents with increasing interest. 5 people, he says, looking up at his mother. 5 young professionals of color sharing similar banking experiences at different branches. They're asking if I'll help them seek justice too. Olivia smiles, the expression containing both sadness and determination. And so it begins. As corporate wheels turn slowly toward reform, Gerald sits alone in his darkened office, scrolling through his own emails, all unread meeting invitations to disciplinary hearings. 1 week later, Gerald Hoffman straightens his tie in the elevator mirror, rehearsing explanations and justifications under his breath. The reflection shows a man struggling to maintain his professional facade, tie perfectly knotted, but eyes betraying sleepless nights. The elevator doors open to the executive floor he's visited only for annual reviews and holiday parties. Today's purpose is considerably less celebratory. The disciplinary hearing awaits in Conference Room A, a space typically reserved for board meetings and major client presentations. Gerald's footsteps echo as he approaches, each sound emphasizing his isolation. No colleagues walk alongside him. No subordinates clear his path. He enters to find a formal assembly, 3 board members, legal counsel from corporate headquarters, and HR representatives arranged along one side of the massive oak table. Olivia Taylor sits slightly apart, her position making it clear she's present as a witness rather than decision-maker. Her recusal from voting due to conflict of interest doesn't diminish her influence over the proceedings. Mr. Hoffman, the senior board member begins without preamble, please be seated. Gerald has hired his own attorney, a bank specialist who now places a reassuring hand on his arm. My client acknowledges that his approach to the Taylor situation was perhaps overzealous, the attorney begins smoothly. However, we maintain that his actions were fundamentally driven by security protocols and customer protection concerns. The evidence presentation begins methodically. Security footage plays on the large screen, showing multiple angles of the incident. Gerald watches himself on screen. The aggressive posture, the theatrical inspection of Devon's belongings, the public humiliation he orchestrated. Without the adrenaline of the moment, his actions appear nakedly prejudiced. Worse follows when Devon's audio recordings play. Gerald's voice fills the room. Look at him! Does he look like someone who could legitimately earn this kind of money? The words hang in the air, impossible to reinterpret or explain away. Most damaging is Samantha's detailed testimony. She appears in person, voice steady as she describes a pattern of behavior spanning years. Mr. Hoffman consistently subjected customers of color to enhanced scrutiny that white customers never experienced, she explains. African American customers with large deposits were questioned about the source of funds. Latino business owners had their identification examined multiple times. Middle Eastern clients were asked additional security questions not required by our protocols. Bank records corroborate her claims transaction data showing statistically significant differences in processing times and approval rates based on customer demographics. Timestamps reveal delays that can't be explained by legitimate security concerns. 3 former customers have provided written statements describing similar treatment. An elderly black woman had her legitimate retirement withdrawal delayed for verification, while white customers received immediate service. A Latino business owner had loan applications repeatedly lost until he brought his white business partner. A Middle Eastern doctor was asked for multiple forms of identification to access his own safety deposit box. Gerald's defense crumbles with each new piece of evidence. His attorney shifts strategy, suggesting rehabilitation rather than termination. My client acknowledges that unconscious bias may have influenced some decisions. He's willing to undergo comprehensive sensitivity training and accept a temporary reassignment to non-customer-facing roles. The board members exchange skeptical glances. In a desperate final move, Gerald interrupts his own attorney. "Everyone does the same thing," he blurts out, voice rising with indignation. "I'm just the one who got caught." This happens at every branch, every day. Why am I being singled out? The room falls silent at this inadvertent admission. The lead board member leans forward. "That's a serious allegation, Mr. Hoffman. Can you provide specific names and incidents to support your claim that this discriminatory behavior is widespread?" Gerald falters, unable to implicate colleagues without evidence. His attorney winces visibly at the self-inflicted damage. Devon testifies last, his composure remarkable given the circumstances. He focuses not on Gerald's actions but on their broader implications. "The humiliation wasn't just personal," he explains. It sent a message to everyone watching about who belongs in financial spaces and who doesn't. Every customer in that lobby learned something that day about how this institution views people who look like me." The committee deliberates briefly before delivering their verdict. "Gerald Hoffman, your employment with National Trust Financial is terminated effective immediately for violations of our non-discrimination policies, customer service standards, and security protocols." The senior board member's voice is flat, emotionless. "Additionally, we are recommending a comprehensive review of all customer complaints filed during your tenure as branch manager." Gerald sits motionless, the finality washing over him. 20 years of his career erased in a 10-minute deliberation. As he leaves the conference room, he passes Devon in the hallway. For a moment, their eyes meet. Gerald's angry and defeated, Devon's calm and resolute. Gerald opens his mouth as if to speak, then thinks better of it and continues walking, shoulders hunched under the weight of consequences he never expected to face. Later that afternoon, Gerald cleans out his office under security supervision. Through the glass walls, other employees watch silently, some seemingly sympathetic, others visibly relieved. Samantha, now acting branch manager, stands at a professional distance, overseeing the process without malice but without compromise. As Gerald carries his box of personal items through the lobby for the final time, he notices changes already implemented. New signage about customer rights, verification protocols clearly posted, complaint procedures prominently displayed. His legacy will be the reforms his actions necessitated. As news of Gerald's termination spreads through banking circles, his phone remains silent. No offers, no interviews, no colleagues reaching out. 3 months after the incident, Devon stands before National Trust's full board of directors. The boardroom, all mahogany and subtle wealth, feels different from his first visit. Then, he had been the wronged customer seeking justice. Today, he presents as a financial professional helping shape industry change. The Banking Equity Initiative has exceeded our initial projections, Devon begins, his confidence evident as he navigates through presentation slides. Now serving on a special advisory committee while continuing his analyst role at Horizon, he addresses the board as peers rather than adversaries. Implementation across all branches is 87% complete, he continues, highlighting key metrics on the large display. Customer satisfaction scores among minority clients have increased 23% since implementation began. The initiative he outlines represents fundamental change, standardized verification protocols that remove subjective judgment, transaction review metrics automatically flagging disparate treatment patterns, community banking representatives ensuring diverse perspectives in decision-making, and anonymous customer experience surveys collecting demographic data to track improvements. Board members who initially viewed these changes as necessary damage control now engage enthusiastically with the financial outcomes. A silver-haired director leans forward, examining the retention statistics. These numbers are impressive. We're not just avoiding lawsuits, we're growing market share. Exactly, Devon confirms. These changes aren't just ethical, they're good business. The branches with the most thorough implementation are showing the strongest growth in new accounts. Olivia, watching from her board seat with barely concealed pride, adds her perspective. Financial inclusion isn't charity. It's about accessing untapped markets and talent. She presents figures showing increased accounts from previously underbanked communities. The expansion into these markets represents an estimated 30 million in new deposits this quarter alone. The banking industry beyond National Trust has taken notice. Other major institutions, fearing similar exposure, implement their own reforms, some substantive, others more cosmetic. Banking regulators announce enhanced reviews of customer complaint patterns with attention to potential discrimination. Trade publications run features on banking inclusion as business strategy. Devon's unexpected role as advocate has taken him to finance conferences across the country. His dual perspective as both victim and finance professional gives his message unique credibility with audiences that might otherwise resist change. At the National Banking Association convention, Devon encounters a familiar face, Samantha, now permanently promoted to branch manager of National Trust's downtown location. She approaches with professional confidence, extending her hand. "The branch has transformed completely," she tells him during their conversation. "We're actually serving our whole community now, not just who we thought our clients should be." Under her leadership, the branch's performance metrics have improved dramatically. Turns out, good ethics is good business. Media coverage has evolved from scandal to solution-focused reporting. Business Week features Devin and Olivia on its cover. Banking on Equality: How One Incident Transformed an Industry. The article highlights National Trust's reforms as a new standard for the financial sector. Gerald Hoffman's professional descent continues in the background of these industry changes. After months of unsuccessful job searching in banking, his name having become associated with case studies on financial discrimination, he eventually finds employment at a small credit union, but only after completing extensive bias training and accepting a position with no customer contact or management responsibilities. At Horizon Innovations, Devin now leads a new financial equity division, developing products specifically designed for underserved communities. His team creates innovative solutions that address barriers to financial inclusion, mobile banking options for communities with limited branch access, alternative credit assessment models that don't penalize the credit invisible, and financial literacy programs tailored to diverse learning styles. 3 months ago, I couldn't deposit a check, Devin tells a journalist during an interview. Today, we're redesigning how banking works for everyone. Yay. He glances at the framed check on his office wall, his first paycheck, finally deposited, a daily reminder of both injustice and progress. Devin opens an email containing an invitation to testify before a congressional committee considering new financial non-discrimination legislation. 1 year after the incident, Devin pulls open the heavy glass door of National Trust Financial's downtown branch. The familiar marble lobby feels different now, transformed not just by physical changes, but by the invisible currents of institutional culture. Security personnel greet him by name, their approach welcoming rather than intimidating. "Good morning, Mr. Taylor. Nice to see you again." No hovering, no suspicion, just professional courtesy. The lobby itself speaks to the changes implemented over the past year. Staff diversity is immediately apparent. Informational displays feature multiple languages. Most tellingly, verification protocols are transparently posted where all customers can see them, standardized procedures that apply equally regardless of appearance. Samantha emerges from her office, formerly Gerald's, to greet Devin warmly. "Right on time, as always," she says, extending her hand. Her office, visible through glass walls, displays her credentials prominently, including new certificates showing her completion of financial inclusion training. Photos on her wall show her at community outreach events in diverse neighborhoods throughout the city. "How's everything going?" Devin asks as they walk toward her office. "Is the new system holding up?" "Better than we expected," Samantha confirms. Customer satisfaction scores are up 32%, especially among minority clients. More importantly, new accounts from previously underbanked neighborhoods have grown by 18%. She smiles, the expression genuine. "Turns out when people feel respected, they want to do business with you. Who knew?" Devin nods, unsurprised by the data confirming what should have been obvious all along. "And the verification training?" "Complete across all branches," she reports. "Every employee from tellers to regional directors. No exceptions. No shortcuts." She gestures toward a digital dashboard visible on her tablet. "And we're tracking disparities in real time now. Any pattern of differential treatment flags immediately for review." Devin shares updates on his own career development at Horizon Innovations. His experience has fundamentally shaped his professional path, specializing now in financial products designed for underserved communities. His team partners with banks to increase access and build financial literacy. "We're launching in 5 new cities next quarter," he explains. "The pilot programs are showing remarkable success rates, especially with first-generation college students and immigrant entrepreneurs." Olivia joins them, arriving for a scheduled meeting of the bank's newly established Community Advisory Board, which she helped create. The board includes representatives from diverse communities throughout the city, ensuring policies reflect varied needs and experiences rather than being designed by a homogeneous group of executives. As they prepare for the meeting, Devin notices a young black couple entering the bank, their body language betraying nervousness as they approach a desk. They're greeted warmly, offered coffee, and guided through mortgage pre-approval paperwork with patience and respect. The contrast to Devon's own experience is stark and satisfying. Later, Devon and Olivia discuss how a painful incident transformed into meaningful change. Walking through the financial district, they pass buildings housing institutions that have implemented similar reforms, some voluntarily, others under pressure from regulators newly attentive to discrimination complaints. When it happened, I just wanted my check cashed, Devon reflects, shaking his head slightly. I never imagined it would lead to industry-wide reforms. Olivia smiles, maternal pride momentarily overtaking her professional demeanor. Sometimes change needs a catalyst, someone who stands firm when facing injustice. She squeezes his shoulder gently. Your dignity that day wasn't just for you. They continue to a community center in a historically underserved neighborhood where National Trust now offers financial literacy workshops. The classroom fills with residents who previously relied on check-cashing services and predatory lenders, now building legitimate banking relationships. An elderly grandmother approaches Devon after the session, explaining how she's opening savings accounts for each of her grandchildren. Building something to pass down, she tells him proudly. First time in our family. The story comes full circle as Devon mentors young finance students from underrepresented backgrounds, preparing them for careers in banking and investment. He shares his experience not as a cautionary tale, but as evidence that their presence in financial spaces matters, both for their own success and for the systemic change their perspectives will bring. In the final scene, Devon passes Gerald on the street. The former manager, now working at a small credit union after extensive retraining, looks older, humbled. Their eyes meet briefly. Gerald nods in acknowledgement. Devon returns the nod not in forgiveness, but in recognition that accountability created necessary change. True equity isn't achieved by punishing individual bias, but by building systems where bias cannot thrive. If this story moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button to help others see it too. Stories like Devon's happen every day, some with cameras rolling, most without witnesses. By subscribing to PAP Stories, you're supporting content that shines light on these moments and the changes they inspire. Subscribe now and join our community fighting for accountability and justice, one story at a time. What discrimination have you witnessed? Share your experience in the comments below.